This is Andrew for the Chosen Prime with a quick video for the latest releases from Fansproject. This is their Saurus Ryu-Oh line, otherwise known as their Dino Force or Dino King line. On the right we've got Dinoichi, otherwise known as Kakaru or Slog in the US, who's Triceratops. And on the right we have Dinoini, otherwise known as Yokaru or Wildfly. So this is Fansproject's attempt at bringing the full Dino Force and combining into Dino King into updated form. They don't come with the shells yet that we're all familiar with, but these are quite nice figures to begin with. We'll start off real quick and we'll do some comparisons with current toys. So here is their previous Stunticons. You can kind of see that they're quite a bit bigger than their version of the Stunticons. Here is them against Green Giant, so still a little bit bigger than that style. If we go to retail toys, here are some Combiner Wars figures to kind of show you how they scale in comparison to these releases from Fansproject. And then finally, comparing them to other monsters, here are them compared to Unique Toys' version of the Terracons. As you can see, they don't quite fit into the larger scale that some of these Voyagers class toys fit into. But then, you know, the G1 toys were also quite small, considering they were pretenders back in the day. So let's take a quick focus. We'll focus on Dinoichi first. So Dinoichi was the larger of the two. He actually comes with the feet and hands for the final combiner. And what's kind of nice is there's actually multiple ways for them to attach to him as weapon pods. There's a way to peg it on the top with using kind of this upper tab here. And you can kind of either do that or put up some missile pods. Or if you like, you can actually, there's an alternate way with another peg to kind of peg into the side here of each shoulder to kind of give him some missile guns if you want. He does come with a gun that I assume will combine in the final form, and it does have a little extending barrel as well. Dinoichi's transformation is pretty simple. You can kind of just even see that most of his monster form is on his back. But to start, we just fold in his head. We rotate down the arms. They're actually on this pivoting joint, so you just kind of rotate them once here. Unlock the claws, and then rotate the hand, and then peg the hand back into here. Same thing on the other side. Undo the claw, rotate, and then hide the hand. We can bring them around, rotate the arm, and then kind of put the claws looking like this. We rotate the waist, and then rotate the feet around. And then really all we do for the legs is we just kind of hunch them over a little bit. We can open up with the mouth. And that essentially is Dinoichi in his monster form. While Dinoichi's monster mode isn't exactly anything to call home about, it is still quite nice. The build from Fansproject is still higher quality with the plastics, the paint, the joints. The just overall build is quite nice for this guy. And there are, I mean, you do have options as far as the claws and how you want them to be posed. But we'll go ahead and move on to Dinoni and show him off. So Dinoni is built very similar to their version of Swoop Volar as far as the legs and his transformation. The wings are on pivot joints. They do ratchet back and forth. You can fold them full range for the arms, and as far as posability, he's pretty good. And his transformation is pretty simple, so we'll go ahead and do that. So to transform Dinoni into his Gargoyle Mode, first we lift up the beak to hide the head. Then we curl in the hands into the arms, and then we curl the arms up And then there's a peg on the upper arm that corresponds to the lower arm, and then there's actually a peg that would peg it into the torso. We do the same thing on the other side. And peg it into the torso. We fold down these knee flaps. We fold up the heel spurs and the feet and then push them against the shin and lock them in. Same thing with the other side. Come around to the back. We unpeg the monster leg and rotate it around and then repeg it in. And then we can kind of fold the leg so it's like that. Same thing with the other side. We unpeg, rotate, peg it back down, kind of unfurl it. And so there's actually pegs in his waist for when you fold up the legs. And so when we fold up the legs this direction, and then you can see that this tab plugs into the leg to lock it in place. Same thing with the other side. Peg it in there. These are just on ball joints, and then we can rotate the feet around to get the legs. And then we just arch his back on a ratcheting joint. And then we've got Dinoni, or Kakaru, in his, or Yokuru, excuse me, in his Gargoyle Mode. And now we've got Dinoni, or Yokuru, in his Monster or Gargoyle Mode. Is very similar to the original G1 toy that was inside of the Pretender shell, the Dino Force. And so it's still, you know, a little quirky, but very nice homage to the original G1 toy. And the same thing with Kakaru. They look very much like the G1 Dino Force members. For comparison, we can bring back in the Fansproject Stunticons. You can kind of see, again, stylistically, scale-wise, they do fit with a smaller scale of combiner. We've got Green Giant Scrapper for comparison. We can bring in the Combiner Wars, which might be a little bit better comparison. It's with now these modern toys. And then finally, with other monsters, again, here's the Unique Toys versions of Blot and Center Twin. Much larger, but still stylistically, they match with these figures. So in order to get back into, before we go into combined mode, we'll get these guys into their robot mode again. So to transform Dinoichi into his combined mode, first we rotate his head and hide it. And we can open his chest flap to reveal the combiner head for Dino King. We rotate that around, close up the flap. Then we take the arms and we rotate them all the way forward. And then we take the claw and we rotate this again so we can hide the fist. But then instead of going back the other way, what we do is we end up rotating the hand this way, and then this slot here with this peg can come this way, and then plug in the hands. And there's actually a slot here so that when you actually rotate the hand around, and we come back around here, it'll slide into that place. So we come around to the other side, and just as before, we go rotate this claw so we can hide the fist. But then we rotate the arm, and again, we gotta make sure that this slot pegs in there, that we can hide the claw, and then rotate the hand around so that the slot pegs into the hole. And we've got his upper body. For the lower, now that we've opened up the back, we can kind of fold up his torso. And then the tricky part here is we have to make sure that we can unpeg these feet so they can come up on both sides, which then lets us go ahead and fold the leg completely around and back into the leg. And we come around the back and peg the feet together. And then we kind of just all rotate it up to his back. And then there are two little clips that will, when you push it against the torso, they will lock it into place. And there essentially we have his upper torso mode ready to go. So now we'll worry about Dinoni. So to get Dinoni into his combined mode, first we pull down the head. Just like before, we fold in the hands, but instead we lift up to the top of his in the head. As long as we make sure that the black part's on the outside, then we rotate the arms. And there's actually holes on the bird head where these pegs will peg in. If you lift it up a little bit. Then the wings come forward and cover the face. So it'll be the right arm. We lift up the combiner peg. For the legs, we fold down the kneecaps again. Fold up the feet and peg them to the shins. Then we come back around, and what we do instead this time is we just open up these claws and fold up the legs. We do that on both sides. And then the legs actually peg together. And we come back around, we fold these feet. They peg in onto the back of the legs. And there's the base of his hand mode. Oh, and there's an additional joint where you pull up on his torso. But then his hand is actually hidden in the feet of the combiner that came with Dinoichi. So you lift up the toes, and then here you can kind of see the hand. You can unpeg it, and it's got these little clips, and that's how it'll connect for Dinoni here. That we just put it around these joints. And then there's the hand. And you can rotate the hand, and the hand, it's got a ratcheting joint and all that stuff. So then we'll go ahead and now combine them with Dinoichi. So we take the torso, and you can kind of see there's the combiner port for the hand. And one thing I forgot to mention, there's actually another port. You can kind of see here's where the ports for where the other part of the half of the torso will be. But there's also a flap here that'll connect. But all we do is we just connect that into the port. And there we have at least the start of a really nice looking Dino King. Ratcheting hip or arm. You do have a little bit of give with the arm there, way that port works. And then again, the head does twist. So we unfortunately can't finish him, but we can show him off with what another limb would look like. So here's a Combiner Wars limb. You can kind of see how this guy will shape up. But right now, I mean, if you want a really nice Dino King, it looks like this effort from Fansproject is going to be really great. So if you're a fan of Fansproject's work and you want a little bit of Dino Force or Dino King in your classes collection, you really can't go wrong with these first two figures from the Saurus Ryu-Oh line. We don't know what's going to happen as far as the shells, the Pretender shells that they've shown off, how those will be made available. And I'm pretty sure that they'll make a Monstructor so you get your own Slug and Wildfly version of these characters. So these two figures are available right now with the next two on pre-order. I would recommend them if you're a fan of Fansproject and the Dino Force, and we will talk to you later.